Hey everybody, it's Matthew. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to learn a new Soundgarden song. We're going to learn Been Away Too Long, the opening track off of King Animal, which is the album from 2012. Of course, really quick, we have to go over our tuning for this, which is going to be E5 tuning from the lesson, of course, that I did on it. You can go find that on my channel as well, but we're going to go over the tuning notes real quick, even though we've discussed that tuning before. So, of course, you're going to have an E at the bottom, then another E on your A string, which you can just tune down, and then a B, where your D string would normally be. Again, you can just tune that down, and then a B an octave higher than that, where your D is. You will have to replace the string with a B string to do this. Then another B in our normal spot, and then the high E where it normally is. Of course, before we get into the lesson, don't forget to go down below and click the subscribe button to help me out and help this channel grow. I would really appreciate it if you go and do that. Thanks a lot. Alright, first let's talk about the intro that the song opens up with. That's going to be this guy here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this intro because it is kind of free time. The first two bars of it, when you play the riff, are pretty much in time with the song. That last bar I don't think is. I think there's like an extra beat on it or something like that. So the timings of that last bar is not necessarily that important. I think that is probably the case. I think there's just an extra beat on it or something. But anyway, that's the intro that the song immediately starts with. It's a little sloppy just because I have a hard time doing this quickly, you know, because of muscular dystrophy. I don't have very quick lateral movement there, but anyway, let's get right in here to the first riff, and I will give you tabs for each section up on screen as we do them. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is the first riff there, as you can see on screen here, starting with the 0 fret, so nothing there. Then we go 3rd fret, back to 0, to the 5th, and then 0, and then we hit these bottom 3 strings, or top 3 strings unfretted. So let's do it slow. And now let's talk about the tricky count for this riff, which this song is full of, even though the entire thing is pretty much in 4/4. There's some tricky spots these riffs start and end. So turn that off real quick so you guys can hear me talk here. So the way this is going to get counted here is really interesting. So it starts with a half note rest on where your 1 would be. So the riff actually starts on the and of 1. And so you would count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. So that's a pretty simple count to get under your fingers, and don't forget to count out the ending of it, because of course this riff ends on 3 as well, so that's one thing to keep in mind. Moving on to the next part, so the way this is going to be arranged, you're going to play that 4 times by itself, and then we're going to go into the verse section, which opens with this little lead from Kim on the other side, and here is that. And he does continue to bend that through part of the way into the next bar when the riff comes back in. So you would play that, and then you play that main riff once after that, and then when you've done that, you're going to do this lead line, which is about the same, but we're going to end on the next fret, on the 9th fret here of this B. And then we do that, and then you play the main riff again. So it goes lead line, main riff, and you do that twice. So you're going to play that lead line with the 8th fret ending and then the 9th fret ending with the main riffs, and you're going to play those again a second time. And then after that, we are going to go into the pre-chorus riff, as I called it, and that is going to look like this. Okay, so that's the whole pre-chorus section there. Let's go slow and look at this again here. So back to that 6th fret, as you can see. Ending with that slide out. And again, this is a tricky count, so after you've come in from the verse section, playing that main riff, that last bar of the main riff, where this is going to start, it's actually going to start on 4 with this chord on the 6th fret here. So the way we are going to count this is going to be like this, and it is going to go 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and cycle it back around again the same way. Now when we get to that and a 4 the 3rd time around is where this different ending comes in, and that's going to be like this, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we slide out, and then after that there is an empty bar where I've been away for too long as sung, and then we're done with that pre-chorus. And then arrangement note, you're going to play that full pre-chorus section, just that one thing, so you're going to play that main riff 3 times, and then the 3rd time, has that ending on it. As I showed you, it's tabbed exactly how it's played. It's a fairly short section. And then you go back to the main riff, played by itself twice, and then we play the verse section again twice, then pre-chorus again, and then we get into the chorus, which is going to be this riff here. So let's look at that guy. So this riff is pretty easy, no weird counts really here, so we're going to just have this part here. Let's play that slow. And there it is, and of course you're going to play that little riff 4 times. There, and I played it twice there, just so you have plenty of time to understand what's going on there. No weird counts. This first section with the hammer-ons is just full 8th notes all the way, so there's not anything strange that you've got to worry about there. The ending can be a little weird because that last 3rd fret hit is a 1.5 notes, which is kind of a weird count. So we'll talk about that count real quick, and that would be like this here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and slide back in. So there it is. That's not that tricky, but just making a note of that. Let's go on to the next part. So we play the chorus 4 times, like I said, and then we go back to the main verse kind of thing. But instead, this time, after the chorus, instead of playing that lead line from before in the riff, we're going to play this little solo lick here that Kim does. Okay, so let's look at that real quick. Okay, and Kim plays that this time instead of what he normally does in the verse, and you do that twice, just like the verse is arranged. And let me play that one more time slow. It's not that hard to get, but we'll slow it down just a little bit. And there's a slide up into that 17th fret there. So make sure you do that. And then next in our arrangement here, we have that. And then we have a B section here that is going to happen right before the bridge. It's after you've played that verse section with Kim's funny solo instead of what he normally plays. And we're going to go into this riff here, which is a really dissonant chord. So here that is. Alright, so that's pretty simple to get there, but let's slow it down so you guys can see how this is picked and hear how this sounds. And we got another funny count here on this riff, so let's talk about that guy real quick. So this comes in on 2, so you'll hear this come in on the snare hit in this bar. So you're going to count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that last and is a rest. It's blank there, and then you turn that back around. So not too hard to understand that one. It's pretty simple, and it just repeats that 4 times. And then you go on to the real bridge here, which is going to start with this funky little riff here, and we're going to have to mute this top E string here. This is the easiest way to do this, and that bridge section is going to be like this. I'm only going to play it once because it's pretty simple, not that hard to get, and then we'll do it slow. Alright, so there that is, and that's going to get played 7 times throughout this entire bridge section. And that's pretty slow because each turn of that bridge riff, it takes 4 bars. So playing all those chords together, all 8 of those chords takes 4 bars to get through. Count on this is a little bit different because there is some empty space at the end, but it's not too hard. So we start with a note and a half here, and that goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we do the same count again for the rest of the chords. And that's how it works on each bar of that. And then we go to a little pull-off lick that Kim does here in this bridge. So we're going to talk about that guy real quick. And played it 3 times for you guys so you can see it. And then let's do it slow here so you can see. This pattern is just 5-3-0 pulling off, and then 7-5-0 pulling off, and then back to 3-5-0, and then 9-7-0. And those last for a little bit different length of time. But here is the lick slow. Now, it's unclear if those last 3 frets are pulled off or if those last 2 notes are pulled off or not. It's not entirely clear based on how he sounds. It's hard to tell what kind of attack is happening there with all the things that are happening in this bridge. And a note about Kim's other lead parts, like the weird solo thing and then the typical verse parts. They are heavily chorused in the mix, so they're going to sound a little bit different than they're going to sound here. I will maybe afterward try to add some chorus onto it so you can kind of hear what that's supposed to sound like, or a little bit closer to that. But this lick is not like that. But anyway, moving on. Right, so the count of this can be a little bit tricky because most of this is 2 16th notes and an 8th note. And then the last pull off, that 0 is actually a note and a half. So that would be like this. 1 E and 2 E and 3, E, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and then we come back around. And that's that whole count. And then some other things to note on this, Kim does some lead stuff after about the 4th time around in the main bridge riff. He starts doing some lead stuff, and that's of course starting with the lead line that we hear in the 3rd verse after the first time we hear the chorus in the song. But then he has a couple where he changes that up a little bit, and we're going to go over those real quick. So those are his alternate lead lines there. So we got this trim pick 15th to start with, and then play around with that stuff. So let's do it slow. And make sure you get that little slide after the first time through to come back to the 17th and do that again. Nothing too tricky there, so we won't spend too much time on that. And he's going to do that, and then there's going to be a little bridge fill that he does after that a couple of times, and we're going to talk about that right now. And so that's the basic idea with that riff there. And then after we do that, we come back around and we play the normal verse lead with the 8th fret ending. And then it's back into the chorus hard and fast 4 times. And then there's an alternate chorus that happens after that where you just move everything up a fret. So instead of these bottom 3 here, you're going to move it up 1 to this, and you're going to play the same thing. I believe that's roughly what's going on, although it does sound like one guitar is doing the normal one and another guitar is playing like up a lot higher. But the best compromise for what you're hearing, I think, is probably doing it this way. That does sound, because it sounds a little bit different, but again, there's 2 or 3 guitars, you know, playing this riff here. But here's the alternate version. So it's just the same thing, but you're a fret higher, so you're picking up this B string here. And that's really all there is to that. So after you've played the normal chorus riff 4 times and then that alternate version 4 times, the song is going to end with this ending here. So it's just this 3rd and 5th fret there with the open frets, and then the normal part of our pre-chorus riff, just the first part, none of this 7th fret here, so you just play that first part and end it there, because that is, as we discussed, that is on 4 is where that 6th fret chord happens, so that's just where the song ends, basically. And let's do that slow, though. So, and there's nothing weird about the count on the ending, because that first part of this, that is a whole bar, and then this regular thing that we've already done from the pre-chorus is also a whole bar, so there's nothing tricky about that. So, and that of course does it for the whole song. I hope you guys enjoyed having the tabs up in here so you can see that and have that to reference while you're going through the video. Of course, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, guys. Leave a comment down below if you'd like, if you want to continue to see lessons like this with tabs. And with that, I will see you guys next time in another video. Have a good one.